Hello everyone and welcome back to the JP On Comms channel. Today I'm bringing you 5 more signings on top of the video I did about a month ago now. It did so well on this channel, my most viewed video, that I thought it's only fit for me to do the same again. So I've gone out and done the homework so that you don't have to, on 5 prospective players that Maidstone could bring in before the start of the season on August the 6th. So on to the first player in the video, and if you did have a little look at some of Maidstone's pre-season photos released by Helen Cooper during our first week back in training last week from this video's release date, then you may have seen some faces in there that you're not quite familiar with. I did, and I also took this chance to converse with some friends of mine who also follow Maidstone and try and figure out who this player was, and we have kind of got an agreement on who it might be, and we do think it is Josh Fowler. Now, Josh Fowler is a 24-year-old American striker who most recently played in the National League for Aldershot Town. He was released following the end of the last campaign. As I say, Josh Fowler is an American player, but he hasn't always played in England. He was born, raised, and also played football in America before coming to England. For his previous college football side, he managed to bag 20 goals and 10 assists in 68 games, so not too bad. That was from the ages of 18 to 21. Obviously, he's now 24, so a little bit further down that line of development. He did come to England a couple years ago, back in 21, and he went straight to Aldershot from America. And upon arriving at Aldershot, he was almost immediately loaned out to some of the lower league clubs. He has been loaned out to 3 different clubs in England since signing for Aldershot: Farnborough, Salisbury and Beaconsfield Town most recently. It's very difficult to find the stats for these lower league clubs. However, he has performed pretty well at some of them, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough for him to keep his spot upon returning to Aldershot, so they did opt to release him. Now, as I say, this player is someone who I believe has been training with the squad. Maybe someone we'll see this weekend versus Sheppey in the pre-season, or featuring in some of the pre-season games in the coming weeks. However, what is it that he's potentially going to offer this team? Well, as I say, he has got some National League experience, not a great deal. I think he only made 4 appearances for Aldershot across all competitions. I think 3 of those were in the National League. I think only 1 of them was a start, so he hasn't actually been given much of a chance in the National League, which, doesn't necessarily mean he isn't going to cut it. Sometimes it's just really hard to break in as a new player into teams who are already established in certain divisions. However, what can he offer Maidstone? Well, from what I've seen in some of his highlight clips, especially from his time in America, he's 6'1", which for a start is quite a different dynamic to what we already have up front. Jack Barham, of course, and then Gandor will likely be our backup striker, but maybe a third option is something that we're looking at. So 6'1", he's very fast, he is very, very quick, and especially when he's on the ball as well, which is not always too common. Sometimes you've got these players who can run really well when trying to get to a ball, but once they're on it, they can't really sort their feet out, and it slows them down quite a lot. But he does seem to be able to move quite well with the ball. His positioning is really good as well. There's quite a few times in the clips that I saw he kind of makes that run into the box and then drops back as someone's looking to get the ball in, leaving his defender a little distance away from him to open up an opportunity. So again, that's something that's really good. And for me, the most important thing was that he really does seem to play on the shoulder quite a lot. So when you've got that high line that some teams do like to play, and you're looking for that ball in over the top, he has got that pace to beat someone on the turn and run quite fast and away from them, which again is only going to help open up some of the spaces. And with the system that we do tend to play with, people kind of interchanging a little bit up the front there. Of course, we've got Sol and Joe Smith now, who can play anywhere in the front 3. That's going to help a bit of interchanging play up front. So maybe seeing Fowler running a line could allow Sol to come on the inside, open up a bit of space, and maybe create some chances. So he's also got a good ability of hold-up play. I did notice from a few of the clips, someone might play it into his feet, and he's got a defender behind him who he can kind of knock the ball around and turn and spin and go. So again, this kind of acceleration, he's got this pace, is really useful when it comes to beating someone on the turn. So again, a decent option there, potentially a little bit risky, as I say, not established at this level or the level below. A lot of his career has come from his time in America, and that is where he did prosper quite a lot. However, trying to gauge the level of football over there is obviously very, very difficult coming from an English perspective. So only he knows his potential ability, and hopefully he does perform quite well if it is him that we've managed to identify during the Maidstone pre-season. So the second player on my list today is someone called Sonny Lo-Everton. Now you may be thinking, well, who is that? Well, if you do follow National League football, you would have been aware that he was on loan at Yeovil last season. He is 19 years of age and primarily plays on the wing, can play either side. I think he more focuses on the left. However, as I say, 19 years old, 5'7", quite a small, intricate player. And you might have noticed I said he was on loan at Yeovil. His parent club is actually Watford, a team that he's been at for about a decade or so now. Been there for a very long time, and was recently offered a new deal to stay on after his loan with Yeovil by Watford. So again, someone who's clearly still rated by them, and as a championship outfit, you would assume that they know what they're doing in terms of holding on to these good academy players. But like I say, he can be quite a good intricate player for Maidstone. He's very, very quick, and he is someone who can help us on the break. And if he was to come on loan, I think this would actually be a really good deal, primarily because with a loan you can get shorter term loans, and of course we're going to have Luke coming back into the side hopefully around that festive period, maybe just into the new year. So he could come in on a maybe 6 month sort of deal just to get him some minutes in this side, help us kind of bulk out the squad a little bit, as we are still lacking a little bit in those forward departments. And once Luke comes back, it may be an option to be able to send him back to Watford or to another club, of course. I think this deal could happen. One main reason is because Hakan Hayretin, of course the Maidstone manager, if you weren't aware, I would hope you were aware, he did actually start off as a coach with Watford. I think it was in their under-23s. He was a coach there, so he has got his foot in the door when it comes to links, and hopefully he still maintains some sort of contact with the club. I think when managers do start off at places, of course they're going to have a somewhat special association to these areas, so hopefully Hakan has still got his contacts. He's a very established person, is Hakan, in terms of his contacts around the various football leagues, so hopefully he has still got something going on with Watford, and we could look at bringing Sonny Lo-Everton in. As I said, he's a good player, someone with a lot of potential. If you do Google his name, just simply Google it, Sonny Lo-Everton, then you'll find an article from The Athletic talking about the potential that has been identified within him whilst he's been at Watford, and he was actually put on the scouting list by clubs like Ajax. So, you know, obviously huge European outfit, tailor-built for identifying these very young, high potential prospects. So if you've got clubs like Ajax even taking a look at him, then, you know, you have to kind of understand that this sort of player is someone who can offer you quite a lot. As I say, he's very intricate. He can hit a free kick. I see him score a couple of free kicks for the Watford under-23s in some highlight clips I found. But like I say, primarily he's intricate, he's quick, he's someone who can break quite easily. And in a team which has, Rory Deacon on one side, who is still a quick player, but he's not exactly blessed for pace out on that right-hand side. He's not someone who's electric. That's not what I would associate as his primary attribute anyway. Maybe down the other side, we could have someone like Sonny Lo-Everton down that left-hand side as our kind of fast break option in the National League next season. He did feature as a rotation player primarily for Yeovil last season, so perhaps this could be something we could see him doing for us next year, but we'd have to see. So I think, again, could be someone that we have a little look at, someone who just gives us that option, maybe on a shorter term deal up until Luke does return, but we'll just have to see. So take a little step back now from those more attacking roles. Josh Fowler, of course, the more central forward player, and Sonny Lo-Everton, the more wide forward player. Going to take a little step back now into the midfield. Now, I think Maidstone's midfield maybe could do with a little bit more work in terms of the established players in it. I've got no problem at all with Sam Corn and Regan Booty being in the side. Fantastic players. I think they're going to do really well next year. However, the three other options we're going to have in midfield are going to be Henry Woods, the new signing, who was on loan at Dover last season, Bhivesh Gurung, someone who was certainly more of a fringe prospect in the last year, but again showing glimpses of someone that could work for us next year, especially as a rotational option. And then finally, Dom Odesanya. Now, Dom Odesanya does play a more offensive game for me anyway. I think his more potent abilities are kind of moving forward and progressing the ball rather than that kind of tracking back and box to box type style of play. So the player I have gone with is someone who's more established in the National League, who's got experience a bit higher, and that is Charlie Cooper. Now, Charlie Cooper is a box to box midfielder, 25 years old, about 5'9" tall. He did play last season for Maidstone, who again finished about mid-table. I think they were 16th in the National League last year, so he has got a good set of experience from the National League. He's also played for teams like Halifax. He played in the Football League with Forest Green. He said himself in an interview that time for him didn't go particularly well. However, he's still got that experience. He still knows what it's like to play against much higher levels of opposition. He did also play for Woking in the National League, so he's someone with a lot of experience. He's got, I think, 170 career games, and at 25, that's pretty impressive. So again, someone who's going to come in, be a little bit more established, a little bit more of a composed figure, whilst we allow Bhivesh Gurung, Henry Woods more time to bed into the squad as more backup options. Of course, it's going to be a really long season next season. I'm pretty confident Maidstone are going to end up playing more than 50 games because chances are we're going to get through a few of the earlier cup stages. So 50 games, it's going to be unfair to make Sam Corn, Regan Booty, Dom Odesanya, all these players play every game. So having players like Henry Woods, Bhivesh Gurung to come in as those backup options, I think is what we should do, and allow players to just kind of weave their way into the squad. And if they do perform well in the games they're given, then they can break through. But the more established player to just make sure we've got a really good set midfield going into next year with no questions asked. I think Charlie Cooper's our guy. He managed to get 6 assists last season and 2 goals for Maidstone. He's got a really good delivery on him, actually. I was quite impressed by that. The ball playing from deep, getting that ball into the box from deep is quite impressive. He's someone who does manage to push forward. I noticed so many times in the clips I watched on YouTube, looking back over the Maidstone highlights from last season. Again, I did watch every game that Maidstone did upload, so I've seen quite a bit of Charlie Cooper for them last season, and he was someone who, very much like Sam Corn, does make those late runs into the box, and that is why Sam Corn managed to pick up so many goals last season. I don't think he quite got double digits, but he's very close. 8 or 9, I'm pretty sure Corn got last year. So again, having another player who can kind of get in the box, arrive late. Again, he didn't get too many goals, only 2 last season. Again, this is something he's acknowledged in an interview of him that I watched. His goal scoring ability hasn't been excellent, but he knows he can improve it. I think he can improve it. He definitely gets in the position to do well. He wasn't always picked out as an option when in a good position last season, so hopefully in a team that's more focused on bringing other players into a game, we could help exploit the spaces that he does find in that attacking third. But yeah, like I say, he's got good experience. He's just going to be a bit of more of a experienced head to come into this team and just give up. The midfield is kind of the engine room of a team for me. They help transition that ball from the back to the front. They help break up the play. They help maintain the possession. And again, I think if you don't have a good midfield and you do lose those midfield battles, especially in a league as competitive as the National League, you're really, really going to start to fall behind. So starting strong with a midfield with 3 solid players that we know can perform at that level, I think is going to be our best bet. So for me, a player like Charlie Cooper coming in, establishing himself as someone who can get back, get forward, and just help maintain possession is going to be a good idea for Maidstone. So we've looked at the forwards now, we've looked at midfields, and we're going to take one more step back into the defence. Now, we do only have 3 registered centre-backs with the club. I think for me, Rafe Brown is someone who can certainly play there. He played there quite well last season. But for me, I want him to be used more as the backup to Ben on Williams. Of course, he's going to have to play a lot of games next season, Ben on. So considering we don't really have an established left-back to fill in there, I think Rafe Brown's probably going to be used in that position. And again, maybe on that right-hand side with Gavin Hoyt. So for me, signing that centre-back who can come in and just know his place in the team as the backup centre-back, someone who will be used in the cup games, someone who will be used in, depending on how the season goes, the easier games in the National League, although I'm not sure there'll be many next season. And then, of course, as that rotational option, should fitness be an issue or injuries or suspensions, whatever, I think signing someone who can kind of bed into the team as more of a backup player, knowing his spot in the squad, could be quite important. So the player I've opted for is a 20-year-old, 6'3.5" tall. He is a lump, a very big boy at the back, Eden Proietti. Now, he is an Albanian international. From what I can find online, a few places are saying he's a Bosnian international, but I'm going to opt with Albanian because I know there's a bit of animosity in some European countries, so pretty certain he's Albanian. I did find it written on the Slough website that he has played for the Albania under 18s and 19s, so we're going to go with that. Ignore places saying Bosnia, but do forgive me if I'm incorrect on that. Just going with what I can find on his current club's website. He did sign for them in the middle of last season, and he's got experience playing at Burnley, so that's where he come from. That was the academy he was part of, and he did play with them up until last season. He then joined, I think, Hatfield, a lower division club. Was only there for a little period of time and then moved on to Slough Town. Once he joined Slough, he was very much part of the setup, very, very consistently. He played 19 games last season, but he didn't join until about the midway point, I think. So again, what is it that I think specifically that he can add to our squad? Well, as I said, someone who may be more willing to accept a kind of rotational role considering his age and learn from players like Jack Corley, George Fowler, Joe Lowell, and gain a little bit of National League experience and cup game experience whilst he's with us. He's very young, so we're going to be able to mould him to play the style of play we want him to. He's not going to come in as a player who's kind of set in his ways and finds it difficult to adjust. He can come in very young, early on in his professional development and start to learn what it's like to play with this squad. He's left-footed, so like Jack Corley, he's also very, very tall, as I said before, about 6'3.5". So he's kind of fitting a similar profile to Corley, which could be good in terms of using him as a direct backup for him if Corley is going to be starting next season. He's also quite similar in terms of his style of play from what I can find. He's quite aggressive. He's got very good long passing range. And again, with that left foot, those sweeping balls out to the width, especially we saw with Joe Lowell last season, proved very, very fruitful for us in games such as the Braintree game, in which obviously Luque scored that little flick down from behind him and then run through to break the deadlock. Having a player with that sort of passing range can prove really, really important for us. And in a season where we might be under quite a bit of pressure and sitting back, having someone who can be a very good passing outlet up to the forward players who are trying to get on the break could really benefit this Maidstone team. He's not the fastest player in the world, but again, you know, you've got George Fowler back there, he's got quite good recovery pace. Gavin Hoyt, pretty good recovery pace. So again, it's not going to be essential for him to be absolutely rapid, and he makes up for that in his size and stature. He's a very bulky young lad, quite physically imposing. And again, from some of the clips that I did see, he can be a little bit inconsistent in terms of his judgment and his awareness. There was a couple times where maybe a ball would come over the top and it might not hit his head in the way that he was planning it. You know, he might go to head it out and it might kind of come off at a slightly different angle than to what he was hoping. But again, he's very, very young, and it's his first season in professional men's football, or at least semi-professional football. So again, bedding him into this squad, getting him to learn from the established players we've already got, I think is the reason that we could benefit from having a young player like this kind of moulded into the kind of player that we are looking for at the back. And again, it's always good to have some good defensive options, especially in the National League for next season. So just before I get on to the fifth and final player of this video, I just want to say that if you do appreciate the work I've gone to for putting out this video and my other videos, of course, it's very, very hot in this bedroom that I'm sitting here at the moment. I can't have my fan on, I can't have the window open because it's too loud in the background of the audio. So I'm sitting here baking away, but still really enjoying putting out videos for you. My voice is going a little bit, so if you do appreciate the effort I've gone to, then do subscribe to the channel for some more content, and do like the video. Really like putting these videos out for you, and of course leave a comment below if you've got any more ideas. But on to the fifth and final player of the video now. We're going to head back up top to the striking option. So we've gone striker, midfield, defence, and then back up top for the final player. And I've kind of done a little bit of homework here in terms of looking at the situation Maidstone are in. It does appear Maidstone is still in the market for a striker. Obviously, we had the Davis Smith saga a couple of weeks ago now, maybe a week or so from when this video goes up. But obviously, it didn't really work out. He ended up at Bromley. But it does tell us that we are still looking at another attacking player. And if you didn't notice that during this week, from when the video is going to be coming out, we did announce a pre-season friendly at the Gallagher against Enfield Town. And for me, this kind of sent some alarm bells ringing. I kind of thought, hang on a minute, another pre-season friendly, kind of out of the blue. Where's that come from? Still in the market for striker. Let's see what's going on over at Enfield. So I did a little bit more homework over to the Isthmian Premier top goal scorers charts, and who was up there near the top above David Smith? Well, it was this man, Muhammadu Faal, and he is a 25-year-old striker from Enfield Town, someone who's played at Enfield Town twice in his career now. And he also actually managed to secure himself pretty much wonderful move to Bolton Wanderers a few years ago. Fortunately, didn't quite work out for him, but you know, he's got experience being up there in the Football League, so he does kind of know a bit about what it's about. He's been through the training, he knows what the deal is when it comes to the Football League and how it works. He also has National League experience at Dulwich Hamlet and Barnet as well. Unfortunately, he didn't get great game time at Barnet. It does, if you look it up, say I think he's got 20 games for Barnet and only 1 goal. And you might look at that and think, oh, you know, why do we want to look at a striker with 20 games, 1 goal? Well, he actually only played about 700 minutes. I think 19 of them were actually sub appearances. And, you know, if you divvy up 700 minutes by 19 appearances, he's barely getting any game time. So he didn't really get a fair crack of the National League when he was last playing in it. And he did drop back down to Enfield again, where he actually managed to score an assist, 55 goals in 51 games last season. I mean, it's phenomenal. And he scored 42 goals in 51 games, so bear that in mind. And then he got 13 assists as well. So mind-blowing numbers, really, really mind-blowing numbers. Clearly too good for that level. One below the National League South, the Isthmian Premier. So clearly ready for that National League South step up. Very, very potentially ready for the National League step up again. And he's also someone who I've identified because of the option that he brings. He's 6'5" tall, and I don't think I've ever seen a 6'5" tall person in any walk of life move the way he does. It's very unconventional, but it works. It works fantastically well. And if you look him up, I think you can find a clip online. Just type in Muhammadu Faal on YouTube, and I think you can find a highlight video there. And it shows you how he plays. Now, he's primarily right-footed, scored a few of his left, scored a few of his head, scored a few penalties as well. But it's the 13 assists as well that makes me really quite interested in this player. And he's got an ability on the ball that is just so confusing to me, but it is confusing to defenders as well, which is obviously a very, very good thing in the footballing world. And when he picks up the ball, the way his body moves, you wouldn't expect someone who's 6'4", 6'5", whatever, to move in the way he does. He's very quick for a start, and he's very, very good with his feet. He's like Peter Crouch combined with Usain Bolt. It's really strange in the way that he plays football, but it works so fantastically well, and it's in no way a criticism of him. The way that he plays his game is fantastic to me. Is someone who I really like the look of, and it clearly works so well in the numbers that he manages to get. Again, it's 42 goals and 13 assists in 51 games. It doesn't matter what league that's in. Hakan said it before, a goal scorer is a goal scorer, and I completely agree. So he's got height, he's got pace, he's got ability on the ball, he's got an ability to set goals up, 13 assists in 51 games. That's good for any position on the pitch. Doesn't matter if you're a winger, doesn't matter if you're a midfielder, it doesn't matter if you're a fullback. 13 assists in any position is fantastic. Top that off with 42 goals. Bit of a no-brainer signing for me. And of course, it's not a guarantee. It's, you know, he might not be happy with the game time you might be willing to offer him. For me, Jack Barham obviously deserves to start in the National League, especially after last season, and Gandor does deserve minutes as well. However, if he can come in and compete and be that backup option that we kind of were looking for last season with Alfie Pavey, that kind of big man up front, but he's a lot more dynamic than Alfie Pavey. As I said, the pace, the ability on the ball, the finishing. He really does seem to be somewhat of a full package, and I think that he could be a really, really good addition to this Maidstone team. And a little bit of pub trivia for you as well. He's actually the cousin of Liverpool Football Club, Joe Gomez. He's his cousin, so you know he's kind of got the footballing family around him. Who knows? He might be in touch with him. He might have that kind of access to the higher levels of the footballing world, especially in England. But in terms of his career, he's had quite an interesting career as well. As I say, he played for Enfield Town, he's played for Barnet, Dulwich, Bolton, but in the early stages of his career, he actually played 3 years in Italy. So I watched an interview of him saying about his time in Italy, 3 years there during his developmental years. In his early 20s, late teens, he was over there playing in the Italian 3rd division. So again, quite a decent level of football. Probably on par with that of the National League, somewhat similar. And he said it played a really important role in his development. He learned a lot there as a man, especially. So again, this is someone who's quite cultured in terms of football. He's had a lot of experience at a lot of different clubs, and he's only 25 years old. So I think he could be a very, very valuable player to come in as a backup big man option up front who isn't one-dimensional, and I think that'll prove really useful in the National League next year. So everybody, that's the end of the video. 5 more signings that you, the Maidstone fan, may not have been aware of, that the club could have a little look at to bring in before the season start on August 6th. Thank you for watching this video up to this point. We're probably about 25 minutes in now, and I'm a big sweaty mess sitting here in my room. So thank you all for putting up with my appearance, at least during this video. If you did enjoy the video and you do enjoy the content that I put out on this channel, then please do like the video and subscribe for some more content. It's going to be a really, really big month coming up for me on the JP on Comps channel. Lots and lots of different content. I'm going to be doing a podcast with a few friends of mine who you may be familiar with from Stones Live, the club's official commentary channel. So again, plenty of stuff to look forward to. And if you did enjoy it, let me know. And if you've got any ideas for other videos in the future, then do comment them down below. Always happy to have a little chat and discuss some ideas with people. So again, thank you all for watching. Really hope you like the video, and I'll catch you later.